and to grow on that. I'll never forget an experience I had actually with this company I was talking about a little bit earlier today. And we'd had some tremendous success in the business, and we thought, man, how do we keep this moving? How do we get unstuck even from this level to go to this next level? And I remember it was an offsite. We were sitting in the top of this hotel, and we were trying to think, and everyone was stalemated. And then actually we asked the question, what if? Okay, what if we had set a goal that we were going to do this? And it was it was a BHAG. It was this great, big, huge number that really the company had never done before. We never really thought we could achieve that. And threw the number out. And all of a sudden everybody started to, at first it was like, well, that's kind of stupid. We've never done that before. I mean, we're not set up to do that. I don't have the people. We don't have the resources. How could we possibly do that? And then the question, but what if it was a possibility? What would we have to have in place to make this happen? What would it look like? And then this kind of magical thing happened. One person started to say, well, we'd have to have this. Another person said, we'd have to do this. Someone else said, well, we have to get ahead of this. We have to start thinking a long time out to get there. We have to put this piece in place. And after about an hour or so of thinking about what it would take, all of a sudden, this elephant that seemed so impossible to take down, all of a sudden became a reality. And we started to put those pieces together. And we did, and it turned out to be one of the most, it was a monthly deal that we did, it turned out to be one of the strongest, most successful things that we had done in the history of the company. And it started with someone just asking, what if? What does it look like? And bringing minds together and taking that little seed and then starting to build on it, and to build on it, and to build on it. It was interesting, in the back of the room I was talking to Doug Moss, and I said, so Doug, what have you learned from this? He said, one of the most interesting comments I've heard, and I don't know if it was exactly said this way, was somebody said, never really thought about our business in this way. Typically what we've done is just thought about what's just the next thing, what's the next month, what's the next promotion, what's coming, and not allow ourselves to be thinking 8 months, 12 months down the year, or 12 months down the road, and to start thinking strategically what that would look like and what would need to be in place and how you would execute against that. And so part of the purpose yesterday is Carl shared this whole calendar of events with when nutritional is going to be offered, when the new products, fitness programs are going to be launched, and the other pieces, that you get that you see that. And even though not everything was spelled out with specificity, there's enough there that you can start to see, how do I develop and build a cadence in my business? Because in order to create a successful, rewarding, sustainable business, that's the level of thinking that you as leaders need to be thinking about. And we as a company, also in partnering with you on that, need to do a better job of lining that out for you so that you can leverage that. And what I know is that it's just one of those fundamental practices of success that we all have to get better about. So I hope, as you spend time in that meeting, and as we'll provide to you those sheets that you got at the 4 quarters, that you will take those back, that you will take some time to continue to build on that. And my confidence level is extremely high that if you'll spend some time doing that, okay, being proactive instead of reactive, that there will be great rewards on that side of that. That's the way it happens. And will there be necessity at times to course correct and to move a little bit? Yes, there will. But directionally, you will be set. And that will give you great confidence. It will give your teams great confidence. You will be able to move your team further at a faster pace. And people are going to want to be part of your teams because you're a leader who knows where you're going and you know how you're going to get there. And that's what this is about. Simple stuff. But common sense, but not always common practice, right? So what we tried to do today is put a little common practice into this. Okay, we're going to hear from another great panel of coaches. this afternoon. I'm excited to, well, I'm not going to introduce them all right up front, but I am going to introduce who's going to facilitate the panel, our Executive Director of Coach Development, Mr. Craig Collier. So Craig, if you'll come out, he's going to be the question asker, and he'll do a great job. And then we have 2018 Elite Top 10 Coach Moira Kusaba. Yes, we do. Five-time Elite Coach Brittany Leggett-Schumar. And all the way from Canada, Quebec, she can speak it all, four-time Elite Coach Emily Robidoux. Emily, welcome out. All right. Take it away, guys.
Hey, thank you, Jeff. How's everybody doing? Whoa, yeah, we're a little nervous coming in right after the break, right? How's everybody doing? All right. Hey, we are excited to host this panel today. We've got a very interesting topic, which is about the most permanent challenge in leadership, change. There's nothing more permanent than change, right? It's inevitable. You know, social things change, hairstyles change, fashion changes, technology changes. Well, I think we can all agree that the only thing that doesn't change is Jeff Hill's resemblance to David Hasselhoff in his prime, right? Then we have gotten recently Jeff to stop running through the office in his swimsuit. So it's good. But no, while change is inevitable, growth is optional. And we're excited to talk a little bit about how, as leaders, we navigate change and adapt with change. And most of all, that we look for opportunities to anticipate change and then make the most of it. So we're excited to talk about that. We'll dive right in. Moira, we're going to kick it off with you. You are a business owner, come from a background. You owned a Pilates gym, a pressed juice company, a lot of experience in that. But over the last 3 years, have been at Beachbody and are now a Superstar Diamond top 10 coach and managing a lot of growth on your team. And so as you consider your coaching career, share with us maybe the most impactful change that you had to make in your business, and what did you learn from it?
Well, I think, looking back, it was kind of hard for me to answer this question. And when I thought about it, I thought way back to the beginning. I'm kind of always trying to get back to what worked in the beginning and really continuing to do that. And the first 3 months I was here, I hit Success Club 6 by the skin of my teeth, and I thought this was really hard, and it was just, it's what all of our coaches tell us. And then in month 4, something happened. And that thing that happened was I made a decision. And I just, my mindset shifted. I made a decision to go all in. I made a decision to be teachable. I made a decision to walk through the fear and to just go for it. And as a result of that, everything has changed. I have on my mirror, your destiny is shaped in your moments of decision. And what I think is important to know is that, okay, you can make this decision mentally, but then what? And it's well, then you have to take action. You have to have strategy. You have to have things in place. And so, yes, that happened in month 4 to completely have my business just take off, but it continues to happen 3 years later. I'm constantly making decisions instead of wanting top 10 or wanting superstar. I'm making a decision to go for it. And I tongue there for a second, to just go for it. And that makes all the difference, because with that decision comes the action, comes the strategy. And I was thinking, as simple as little things like, we can sit down on a Monday morning and work our business and invite, or we can make a decision about how we're even going to end that day, and that makes all the difference. It aligns my activities to that goal, that decision about where I'm going to end the day versus just waking up to work my business.
I love it. It always starts with a decision, and then, unfortunately, a decision made needs to be followed by change in behavior. So, yeah, you got to take it there. All right, Brittany, former nurse, military wife, you lived on one coast and the other coast, from starting the business without kids. Now you have a baby. A lot of change has happened since you started. would you say is one of the most impactful changes that you've had to realize in your business, and what did you learn from it?
So for me, this is a really easy question because the biggest, most impactful, and most challenging change that I made in my business is going from full-time coaching with completely flexible schedule, no humans to take care of myself, and my husband gone like 300 days a year, to then becoming a mom and having to transition to being as productive with part-time hours. And so I was faced with the decision of how can I be as productive while still honoring my new priority as, my baby Rue came into the world, still, honoring my priority as wife, but also my priority as a business owner. My desire to work didn't go away from becoming a mom. I'm somebody, probably like most of us, we enjoy the work, we enjoy the hustle. And so that has been the most challenging thing for me, is to figure out how to stay productive in a much shorter, more sporadic amount of work time versus the first 4.5 years that I was in this business. And I know some of you might be thinking, oh, I don't feel bad for you. I've always worked this business on this side. But it is super challenging to have to completely restructure how you do your entire business. So that would be, for me, the biggest change. But what I learned from that is what we learn when we become coaches, that if we really want something bad enough, we'll get creative and we'll figure out how to make the most out of the time that we do have. So it's so cliche in this, group of people, but that really is the lesson and the truth in that challenge for me.
Awesome, thank you, Brittany. Emily, same question for you. You started in a traditional business as an employee in marketing and communications, and now you are a mother of 3. You have moved, throughout coast to coast in Canada, and 14-star Diamond Coach now, a leadership award recipient. In that experience, what has been an impactful change that you had to make in your business, and what would you share with the audience?
I also went back to when I first started this business and trying to think what was the moment that things took off. And for me, I really had to make a transition from being a coach of a challenge group, talking about the products and getting customers in my challenge groups, to becoming a leader of a team. And I remember I was very scared to start recruiting coaches. I was very comfortable with the fitness aspect of things, but when I sat down and really started to think about long term, and if I wanted to make this a business that I would have a solid foundation that could live from this business, I needed to have business partners. So it was a big change for me because I needed to refine my message, the way that I post on social media, to ask myself, how can I refine my message and really start talking about finding business partners, positioning myself as a leader, and really starting to develop that CEO mindset, that entrepreneur mindset of a long-term vision. Because for me, getting customers and clients was kind of a fast way I could get this.
Are you saying it was comfortable?
It was pretty comfortable.
And you had to get uncomfortable?
Because I had to learn to teach my team how I was doing things. And it was much easier for me to just do it myself. But that's short term, right? That's not something, and that would be stuck because you can only do so many things as a one person. So understanding the power of team building was a huge thing, and that led to duplication and really creating a solid foundation for the business.
I love it, thank you. Well, hey, let's get into some of the nitty-gritty then, and the tactical things that happen as coaches and as leaders in this business, and how things that impact changes in the industry, changes in our business, changes in products, and how we release those really impact our ability to lead a team. They say that change is hard at first, messy in the middle, but can be gorgeous at the end. And I think we've all seen that process and deal with that process, especially as we lead people. So Emily, let's go with you. We're going to address the social media changes, right? We've seen them, we've been through them, and of course part of being a leader is being willing to adapt and also trying to sometimes anticipate where things are going. And so share with us how you have adapted, and if you're going into your 6th year of coaching here with the social media changes. How did you adapt with those, and is there anything you would have done differently now that you've kind of been through some of this?
Well, I think like many of us, I started on Facebook. I was very strong on Facebook. My Facebook like page was doing great. And I think at the beginning, everything was new. I never knew how to build a business on social media. So I was very eager to learn. I was always trying new things, and then I built a good momentum. I built my credibility, my name on social media. I built an audience, and then I kind of like felt like I had figured out what was working for me. And I was teaching that to my team, and at one point I realized I'm teaching them things that are working for me, but like I'm like 3 years in. I have experience, I have like an audience, they don't have that. So I really had to start thinking about, what if I was a brand new coach today, where would I go? Like, what platform would I use? And the answer was obviously Instagram. So I had to make a big transition to Instagram and really just having that mindset of being a brand new coach again, and wanting to learn and figure it out so I can bring it back to the team and help them have success. And it's been a transition, but like you said, change is hard at first, but now I'm like thinking, how could I ever not go to Instagram? And I'm having a lot of fun with it. If I would have changed something about it, I would have been more proactive, and I would have started much earlier.
Awesome, thanks, Brittany or Moira. Any thoughts on that as you've been through the social media whims, and as we look at where it's going? I mean, how do you approach it?
Yeah, it's the same. I mean, almost the exact same. I was very resistant because Facebook was what I came in with and what was working really well for me, and I felt resistant to change something that was working, but I did, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah, and I feel the exact same way. I think in rehearsal we said ditto
Yeah.
a lot. I have the exact same story, and I can't imagine my business without Instagram at this point, and I would not have said that 6 months ago. And I think what I learned from that is that as leaders, we really need to get in front of industry changes, and we need to know what's coming and try new things and be quick to change and quick to adjust our sails, instead of what I was kind of doing a year ago, was sitting back and letting everybody go there and observing, and then if it was going to work, then I would jump on board, and that's a new thing. Like, I realized that I need to be the pace car now.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. As I was prepping for this panel, I ran into like a cartoon that was pretty funny. It was a group of businessmen sitting at a conference table, and they were, kind of just all sitting there, and the caption was, "I wonder if we sit here long enough, if something magical will happen." So we'll just wait this out, and then instead of making the change and causing the impact of what we need to do to happen, maybe just something magical will happen, and it usually does not. So you got to act. I love it. Brittany, let's go to you. If I were to look at the course of your life over the last few years, this thing of life events. We're often working with a coach who seems to have a lot of potential. They've had some great momentum, and then life event happens. Circumstances change, and it kind of derails them. And you've certainly had plenty of opportunities, again, with the moves and the things that you've gone through personally that could have been life events that took you out of the flow, but you've stayed persistent, you've been productive, you've continued to grow your business. How have you managed life events, and how do you help your team members when they have a life event?
Yeah, I think, we all have things that we go through, and some of them feel like they're closer together than others, and so for me, whether it was the moves that were challenging, or deployments, or IVF, or my husband, transitioning out of the military, et cetera, newborn life, not sleeping, all that stuff, it's like, how do you stay connected and driven and productive? For me, I had to accept that although I love the hustle, and I love the challenge, and I love the big goal, I had to accept that just as there were seasons of imbalance in my life because I was going for a bigger goal, there were also going to be seasons of laying a little bit lower, through those challenging for me it was personal things going on, but for me, I stay showing up every single day, and I stay committed to growing my personal business no matter what. And the best way that I know how to help my team through that is just to be transparent with my team. And so we all have heard the whole win the day thing. I took that concept and just ran with it, where there were challenging days in my last few years, I would just be transparent with my team, and we would make a list of the things that needed to get done no matter what, and I would show my team that I was doing that no matter what. So that way, it was kind of like my survival survival mode, but I was still on the top of my success club boards every single month. I was still sponsoring coaches. I was still, doing my best in my own personal fitness journey. So the vital behaviors never go away. It's just the intensity of which I work my business changes a little bit in seasons. I can't stay there all the time, but of course, like, things are going to come up. And so when my team sees me working my business and doing my win the day or whatever, like winning the day, they know how to survive their challenging time. Like, things are going to come up, right? Change is inevitable, whether it's a good thing like a baby or a bad thing like an illness. We have the decision to say, okay, I'm not going to allow a challenging change to tank my business. And so for me, it's recognizing the seasons of imbalance where good big goals are also maybe opposite of accompanied by seasons of laying a little bit lower in your business, but not giving up, not allowing your business to just dwindle. So I think transparency, I guess, is the end part of that, like sharing all that with my team.
Yeah, I love it. So, Moira, what do you say to coaches that come to you and say, hey, things were going well, they had the momentum, and then it was like, no, but this just happened to me. How do you rekindle that or kind of overcome that challenge?
Yeah, I think you always meet, I always meet my coaches just where they're at, and with a lot of love and a lot of presence from me, but they, just like you said, you show them through example that, I have really hard days, and the last few weeks have been completely upside down for me, and it hasn't even crossed my mind to not work my business. And so just organically, my team sees life being thrown at me in a really hard way sometimes, and they still see the Success Club points going up, they still see the coaches coming in. And so you lead by that example, and you kind of just give them the options. It's like you give them that kind of lesser, these are your non-negotiables, maybe take your foot off the gas a tiny bit here, but we have such amazing trainings in place that, this can take you 20 minutes a day, this can take you 30 minutes a day. So I think that's really helpful.
See that.
Yeah.
I love it. Or let's stick with you on this one, especially, for this leadership audience. And of course we have coaches that have been here 10 years plus, 6 to 7 years, and you all found out how many years you've been here at the breakout thing that we just had. But many are, this is their first leadership, and maybe they're just getting to where their team is growing, and they're trying to find that balance between their personal business and leading a team or managing the dynamic of a larger team. And certainly you've come onto the scene here, and your team has grown very quickly. How have you navigated that change in regards to your time management and your organization of priorities?
I love this question. From the get-go, when my team started to build, in those first 6 months after I made that decision, I really just cut my day in half. And I would always stay in phase one in the first half of the day and really try not to talk to my coaches and not to talk to my team. And I would define the afternoon for coach calls and, push calls and things like that. And it was very easy to just cut it right in half. And it's gotten super complicated. And so my time management has just really gone to the next level. And I think I talk to my team about this a lot. It may seem extremely neurotic or type A, but it's not, because what I do is on Sundays, I take time out of my Sunday to capture everything I need to do in the week, from baseball lessons and hip hop for my little girl, and to call the dentist and recruit coaches and do this push call and invite, get on, all the things. And I just capture all of them, and I track my behaviors, but I also time slot everything. And like I said, it seems a little crazy on the front end, but when I am posting on social media, I'm posting on social media. And when I'm inviting, and I'm not worried about needing to call this coach or needing to do this or needing to do that, because there's truly a time for everything in my day. And so it allows me to show up really focused and really present. And I just love to use this little example. I love to do touch points with my leaders. And so, I will even define the time from when I drop my kids off at school to the drive home, which is like 8 minutes. And I will either call the coach or I will leave them a voicemail. And if I do that every day, when I drop them off and when I pick them up, that's 10 coach calls within those 8 minutes. Like, we all have so much more time than we realize when we actually use it correctly. Yeah.
Wow, I love that. What are you doing with your 8 minutes? minutes. It's going to be my new when I'm on a coach call. It's like, what do you do with your Moira got 10 coach calls in. All right, let's dig in on this a little bit more. Brittany, I'm going to come to you. I have an opportunity to actually work with a lot of your downline coaches who, have become leaders and have, left the nest, so to speak, of Dynasty United, your larger team, and I know that's something that you have to transition with a little bit. Is hey, they came up on your team, but then at some point they choose to leave the nest, and how do you come and organize your challenge groups again? Like, how have you navigated that type of change as the organization has grown?
Yeah, so, I think we all go through this, as soon as you have developed a few leaders within your team, and there's, whether they're your personally sponsored coaches or they're members of your downline, for me, we've always approached it as a team family, and everybody contributes to the culture of the team and the learning environment. So when those coaches develop into their own leaders and develop their own success, and they dive into their organizations, which they should, it can feel a little bit empty, and so it's something you have to work through. But I'm always very careful to, whether it be my downline coaches who are just incredible leaders and who I learn from every single day, or they're my personally sponsored coaches who the same thing goes, I try to make sure that I'm always allowing them to completely own their own success, and I know that it is their work that has gotten them to the place that they are, and it's really important that they do leave the nest, because independence is what we want. And so I think what I've learned from that, although there are definite pain points that come with that transition, it's really reminded me that it frees up the time to then dive into new relationships with rising leaders, to connect them, give them opportunities to shine and grow and to be challenged. And so, although it's uncomfortable, and some teams run challenges together, so for me it's more of like the team culture environment that changes as the leaders grow and leave. But it gives me an opportunity to invest in the new ones, which is what's going to make a sustainable, strong team family. So. Uncomfortable, but a good thing.
Yeah, I like it. And Moira, you said you've had maybe a little bit different dynamic with that as your team has grown. What has been your experience?
They don't fly the nest that much. They do to an extent, and there are those painful moments when it's like, we're going to do our own team call. We're going to, painful. And I absolutely bless that and want them to just go and do their own things, even though it is hard. But, my team name is Together Rising, and we really do, from the very beginning, run trainings together, run calls together. I mean, the Together Rising call is by no means my call. It's all of us leading the troops. And so we kind of have this delicate balance of, them going to do their own things and create their own independence and their own success within their teams, but we really do stay tied together for a lot.
I think that's the true victory, though. If you can create that collaboration amongst your leaders without it being the spotlight leadership, to me, that's the true victory for a team. So.
Wonderful. Cool. Emily, I'm going to come to you with a hard question here. Are you ready? Okay.
I'm ready.
Have you ever tried to make a change on the way you run your team?
Let me think about it. You mean today?
And what did you do? And how did you navigate that? There's always the resistors, and then there's those that get together. Are you sure we're going to do it this way?
Yes.
How do you, navigate that process?
I think the first thing that's very important for me is I want to understand where the resistance comes from. So I like to have a very open conversation with the coaches on my team, and I don't think that I have the answer that's going to solve every problem. So I listen and I try to understand where that comes from, and that gives me perspective. And then I also share my perspective and the reason why I think we should go that way, why I think we should make that change, why I think this is going to make us better, why I think that it might be hard now to go through that process, but long term it's going to be good for everybody. And so I listen, and maybe I'll make some changes, but also as a leader, I feel like it's very important to own your vision, to cast the vision for the team, and to say, hey, this is where we're going, we're going to try this, we're going to track it, we're going to see how that goes, and if we have to make some tweaks, we'll do, but at the same time, there's always going to be one person that's like resistant, and as the leader of a group, it's hard to be that specific, perfect leader that each individual is looking for. So I try to like own my own style of leadership as being respectful of everybody, but really try to, rally the group around one vision.
Yeah, I love that. Any additional thoughts? As we talked about, the hardest job in the world is leading people, right? Because people are weird. And I'm weird, and we're all weird in our own way, right? That's why leading organizations, leading people is tough to do. And so when you do have, you're trying to institute a change that you think is for the best, but there's, maybe resistance to that, or why don't we stick with this, or my thought was that. I mean, how do you navigate those different personalities?
I mean, it is challenging. I don't know if there's any other way to say it. It's like trying to find a place to stand your own ground as a leader and run your vision while also respecting and including other people's opinions. Is very difficult, It's like branding your team and your vision while also like really including everybody else. It's challenging, but for me, it's just very much so what Emily said, like sharing what it is that I want to do, why I want to do it, and asking for feedback and saying, can we do this together? And most importantly, like you said, then can we reevaluate and see what we liked and what we didn't like?
Yeah.
Nothing new to add.
I love it. I wish I had like a nickel for every time I heard the phrase, has the company ever thought of? Right? And I'm sure you guys get that. Like, have you ever thought of doing this or ever thought of doing that? It's tough to be decision makers, isn't it? Right? And so you do your best and you listen and you try to take everyone's opinion into account. And then ultimately you have to make a decision and stand by it and go. And that's important. All right. We're gonna go to kind of a quick round of questions here, and we thought this would be a fun way to kind of wrap up here. But share with us, having a positive mindset, right, is really what this all comes down to. It's mindset and choosing to be proactive to change and making the most of it and really growing from the opportunity to change. And of course, personal development is one of our vital behaviors and is so critical to being a good leader in this regard. So maybe just share with these guys what your most impactful, personal development looks like right now. What do you like? What are you listening to? And how's it helping you? And we'll just go through that.
Right now, I'm a big fan of podcasts, so I have my top podcast, and I feel like the best way for me to keep a positive mind is to build that toolbox for personal development, where I have like my go-to people that I can go back to. Like if I feel this way, or feel that way, I can just go listen to that podcast.
So spill it. What is that podcast?
I
Your top podcast.
I love The School of Greatness. I love Personal Conversation. Those are my top two, and TED Talks. I listen to TED Talks all the time.
TED is smart.
You fill my cup, but like as for books, I love everything that's psychology, everything that studies the human mind. I'm very interested in. And then something that also would be get my mindset on point, like maybe more mindset related.
Awesome, thanks.
I'm also listening to a lot of podcasts, like In Between Things, and my success partner Chelsea Pearson recommended Brooke Castillo, so I'm listening to a lot of life coach podcasts. I am reading more like topic-specific area things that I want to grow in, so it might be like storytelling or branding. But something that I wanted to share, and it's kind of old, but a few years ago I went through one of the biggest challenges for me in my business, and Take the Stairs was like what got me out of the negative mindset and into just moving forward. So Take the Stairs by Roy Baden. It's kind of an oldie but a goodie.
Awesome, thanks.
And I'm not a big podcaster. I do sprinkle them in, but for me, and I know a lot of you have probably heard me say this before, but for me and my kind of getting that positive mindset on, it's just that what am I doing in that first hour of the day? Because it is absolutely going to dictate the next 23. And so, it's waking up with prayer, meditation, looking at my goals, reading my vision, listening to some type of music or guided meditation to just kind of get me in the good feeling place, and everything changes from there. And then I kind of read at night right before I go to bed. I think Brittany Bouchard's Habits of High Performers has been huge and very impactful for me this year. And then my oldie but goodie is The Go-Giver by Bob Burg. It's like my classic all-time favorite.
Love it, thank you. All right, you guys, well, hey, we're gonna wrap here with our one word, right? So Emily, you're down there, we're coming back to you. Your one word, please.
My one word is grateful. I'm so grateful to be here. I mean, ever since I started this business, I made amazing friends. I continue to meet awesome people, and it really I feel privileged to be here, so my word is grateful.
Mine's a repeat. Mine's family. For me, Beachbody and just this whole experience as a coach has allowed us to build a life that brings my husband home from war, that physically allowed me to go through IVF, to have my son, to be with my son. So family for me.
And mine is the same. We've talked backstage. Family. You know, I've always said that my team is my family, like a circle of women that I never, ever knew was even out there or possible. And it's not just my team, it's all of you and everyone that I've met, and it even extends into corporate, you know, and it's just, I feel more at home among you than I do walking around Target in my hotel. Like, you know, like I feel more at home. It's kind of funny, we talk about this on my team, I'm like, why do I feel so much more comfortable in my own skin around what you would think people from the outside would think would be a very possibly judgy or, you know, all about the outsides kind of thing, and it's just not that, it's truly family.
Awesome. Well, my one word is two words, and it is thank you. I just want to thank you, each and every one of you coaches, for what you do and who you are. You have impacted me personally. You've helped me become the best version of myself. It has helped my wife to become the best version of herself, and ultimately impacted our family in a huge way. And I see what you do and what you stand for as something that will impact generations. We are raising our children differently, and they will thereby raise their children differently, and we're doing it in an amazing way. So thank you. Please know how much all of us at corporate appreciate you, love you, are inspired by you, and just thank you so much to all of you leaders at Beachbody. And guys, thank you. Let's give it up. A huge round of applause for our panel. Thanks so much.
All right.